So thanks everyone for coming. My name's Tristram. I'm Managing Director of Webtopia. With us today, we have Sam and we have Jesse. Sam is the MD of Blink SEO, Sam Wright, and he's going to talk you through a bit about things that need to happen for your SEO coming up to Black Friday. One of the things Sam says about SEO is it's not just a run-of-the-mill SEO agency. It's a lot more focused on e-commerce and how you can actually action your SEO and make it work for you really, really well. We're going to go through then a bit around kind of how you can optimize your ads and make sure you have everything in place and ready to go for Black Friday. And then Jesse's going to go through some of the creative things that you can get in place and kind of creative ideas that you can have for Black Friday, because this is going to be one of the biggest Black Fridays yet. As we were saying in the intro, this is going to be kind of really, really different to other years. I mean, the last few years we've had COVID, we've had stimulus checks, and now we've got to really work for our money this time. So I'm going to make sure that we're ready to go. We have Jesse, who's CMO and co-founder of Webtopia. We're going to go through a whole load of stuff when it comes to getting your ads ready and getting ready to go. Guys, 44 days to Black Friday. That's all I'm saying. I feel like Elf going around here. So I think it's
our favorite time of the year. We love it.
Absolutely. Michael Bublé's defrosting. So we're ready to go.
Awesome. Well, I'll kick in. So what we're going to chat about today, and hopefully we have time to get through it all. If we don't, I'll leave my email, before we wrap up, and you can email us and get a copy of the slides to get all the rest of the juicy content, because we've packed a lot in here today. But what we're going to cover between Tris and I, we're going to cover defining success. So it's really important to go into Black Friday with a plan for what you're trying to actually achieve, and also a forecast for what you expect to achieve. There's lots of reasons for that, which I'll go into. We're going to dig into what you should be doing right now. There's a lot you can be doing right now to ensure a really successful peak. Actions to take during that peak period, and then a little bit about what we noticed last year and what we're expecting to be different this year. And then we'll dive into some really awesome creative tips and inspiration. So stick around for that, because that's where it gets really fun. So diving in, just a quick intro to Webtopia for those who don't know us. We're a multiple seven-figure agency. We currently work with around 30 e-commerce clients. We're specifically niche to e-commerce. So Black Friday is our jam. We've done it over and over again, and we're getting better every year. My background is I was former head of performance marketing for Etsy International, and Tris, my co-founder, has worked with brands like Coke, Guinness, and Mercedes, and spent over 100 million ads on D2C. So it's fair to say we know a few things. We've made a few mistakes in our time and figured out definitely what works in this industry. We've scaled businesses to over 25 million a year from starting base of less than $1 million. So we're very familiar with kind of taking brands to that kind of hyper scale. Here's a few examples of our clients. Now, why should you listen to us about Black Friday? As I said, we've got lots of experience. So I just pulled a couple of examples. So last year we scaled a jewelry brand during Black Friday by 396% and got a tracked return on ad spend of nearly 4.54. We had a kitchenware brand that went from 63K to 3.3 million in revenue during Q4, and they did that without a sale or offer. And we worked with a home interiors brand whose tracked revenue went up 171% during Q4 from 24K to 65K, also increasing ROAS by 46%. So huge opportunities for growth during this quarter if you get everything right and play your cards right. So diving in then, first point I wanted to make is about setting your goals. So it's not a good idea to go into Black Friday saying, well, I just want to make more money. Do you want to make more revenue? Do you want to be more profitable? Do you want to be highly efficient? Do you want to actually use this as an opportunity to bag yourself some new customers? Or is this about selling off old stock? Or is it about nurturing your existing customers, rewarding your VIPs? Is it about getting them to spend more in the purchase, or just getting them to try the product for the first time and rebuy later? Is this more about like overall website traffic and brand awareness? What is the actual goal you're trying to achieve? Get really clear on that, super important. Then once you have that, then you want to dive in and create a forecast. So it's a tricky thing because we're in such a crazy world at the moment. Every year is different. A couple of years ago, we were still in COVID times that had all sorts of interesting things at play, people being at home, people having more disposable income. Last year was kind of crazy because we were no longer in lockdown and people were sort of starting to freak out about the cost of living. This year, again, it's going to be different. So it is tricky to forecast, but you would look at last year's data. You would look at your recent performance. You would add in any data on any sale or test you've run, and you'd factor in obviously what stock you've got and how much you can sell during this period. How quickly can you get more stock if you do really well, etc. Use that to decide your overall budget and goal KPIs, and make sure those KPIs are really realistic. Oh, I just got like an echo. So let's assume you've done all that work and you've got your forecast. Hold on. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Just lost my place a little bit. You've got your forecast, you know where you're going. So the next step is thinking about what should you be doing in the lead up prior to the actual peak period starting. So one of the things we really advocate, and that's worked really well for our clients, is focusing on email list growth and lead generation during this period where ad cost is a little bit cheaper, buying behavior is down. This is your chance to nurture people. So allocating a proportion of your ad spend towards growing your email list at this time is a really great idea. This will make sure you've got lots of people on your list to contact when your offers go live and when peak season hits. And this can be a really cost-effective way to grow your audience and acquire customers. And an important kind of thing to think about is your automation. So if you've got a welcome series, post-purchase series, those kind of things, you want to work on them now to make sure they're really optimized for the different kind of season and for the different type of customer you're going to be getting through. So one of the things we advise is your post-purchase sequence might be a lot faster during Black Friday, and it might be more gift orientated and seasonal orientated, because they might try you for the first time on Black Friday and decide, yep, I'm going to get this as a gift for all my aunties or whatever it is.
I know. Listen, I've
got some, can someone mute?
Get yourself out and just get into bed, all right?
Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to mute this person.
Come on. Go and have a shower, get cozy and get into bed.
I think we got it. Alrighty. That sounded like a lovely mum. Sorry, that threw me off there. Alrighty, so list growth. Alrighty. Sorry about that. Yes, so make sure you've got those automations kind of optimized for the change in the season and get them going faster. Those post-purchase emails might happen a lot quicker during this season. And another thing that's great to run as a kind of warm-up campaign is getting people onto your list just immediately prior to your sale and getting them to opt in to hearing about the sale when it lands. So we've got an example there of a jewelry brand we did this for. We generated over 1,000 leads, very cheap cost per lead, and then got a huge conversion rate on those leads when we dropped the offer. So then once you've figured out your forecast and you've started thinking about email, you want to make sure you're mapping the offer that you're actually putting together to the goal, right? So if your goal is new customers, then is it going to be a new customer discount? If your goal is increasing the average order value, then it might be a bundle that you offer or a discount over a certain purchase amount. So there's a ton of different ways that you can approach your offer, but it's really important to think about mapping the offer to the goal. So there's some, different ideas here for different offers you could run. There's so many different ways to do an offer. The key here, though, is don't make it complicated. Don't give people too many options. I think it's called the paradox of choice, where if people have too many choices, they don't take any action at all. So make sure your offer is very simple, very straightforward, but really important that it maps to your actual goal. The thing that you're trying to achieve, it needs to be really clearly a lever to deliver that. Decide your offer length. Now, this is really key, and we'll talk a little bit about, Tris will talk a bit more about this in his section, but are you going to run your offer for the whole month of November, or are you going to run it really short and sharp over the Black Friday weekend? Are you going to run different offers throughout the period? Really important to think about that. Short-term campaigns are really great for impulse purchases, but if it's a bigger item, I know last year on Black Friday, or was it the one before, I was buying a bed, like a mattress and a bed. And so I was kind of in their funnel for quite a long time while I was deciding which one to buy, thinking about it, looking at reviews, all of that. So if you have a higher ticket, higher consideration purchase, a longer campaign might be more suitable. Again, it very much depends on the offer and the type of product you have. I mentioned this, focus on simplicity. Yeah, and one point to note is that people don't like doing mathematics in their head. So often dollar off is more effective than percentage off. I'm not saying this is a hard and fast rule. This should be something ideally that you've tested in your own ad account and with your customers. But as a rule of thumb, dollar off can often be a simpler thing for people to understand rather than percentage off. The next thing you want to be doing is making sure you're getting your site ready for traffic. Now, this goes, it goes without saying all the time, we should be doing these things, but particularly at peak season, it's the worst possible time for you to kind of like revamp your site completely or play around with like a new theme. I would say you would have squared this all away and got everything really tight and working really well. First thing first, make sure your offer is clear and prominent on the site. You will be getting a lot of people coming directly to your site, not through an ad, not through an email. They might have been just waiting to come back to your site to see what you've got going on Black Friday. So make sure your offer is super clear. Don't bury it, don't hide it. So that's the main thing. And then all of the kind of great conversion rate optimization tips apply. So make sure you have clear call to actions, contrasting colors, always visible. Make sure you've got that kind of brag bar of social proof. Make clear your free shipping thresholds. And ideally, if there's apps you can add that will prompt people when they're getting, close to or about to hit the free shipping threshold. You want to have Trustpilot or other trust badges at checkout. You want to check your site speed. It feels really obvious, but the worst thing in the world is if your site is not loading during this time. People are busy, they're shopping, they've got multiple tabs open, they're doing a lot of things. So if you're too slow, you will miss the boat here. Make sure you're mobile ready. This year will be the year that more people than ever shop on mobile. We say that every year, but it keeps increasing. One day it'll get to the point where it's just everything's on mobile. Social proof and reviews, ideally video reviews. It's a great time now to go out to your customer base and do a big push for reviews. You might want to do some kind of little incentive to get people to send you reviews. Make sure you've got lots of fresh review content on your site. Make use of product images. So always having great product images, different types of images, lifestyle studio, feature point out, infographic, reviews, static review screenshots. There's lots of things you can put in as product images that can really enhance the product page. Think about the 3-second rule. Does your homepage explain your USP in 3 seconds or less? You're going to have new people coming to your site for the first time. Is it clear what your product is and what you are selling? And then think about cross-sell and post-purchase upsells to increase AOV and how these play in with the deals you've got. So make sure you're thinking about that whole customer journey and how it all fits together. Final thing I would like to say is you may want to create landing pages. So as Sam has just gone through, having a landing page or category landing pages for your various offers is a great idea. This also might be an important thing to do for your email marketing and for your paid advertising. We know probably 2023 has been the year of landing pages. It's definitely one of the places that people are putting their attention as ad costs get higher, conversion rates are more challenging. Creating landing pages can be a great solution to that, but doing it particularly around your offers is a smart idea. So here's a little quick list of some things you can do to improve your landing pages or make sure they fit the bill. So make sure the angle or positioning of the product is compelling to the audience and matches with the season and with the offer. Make sure you capture attention and create intrigue with your headline. Make sure you clearly display the benefits of the product. I think one of the things people forget is that during this time, you will be getting a lot of new customers and new traffic. Don't assume that they're just here for the discount. They still need to know why they should buy the product, right? So don't forget to talk about the benefit, the problem you solve, the psychology of what's going to make them want to buy. The discount alone is not enough. Again, all that good stuff, social proof, reviews, brag bars, clear call to action. Do they get all the information they need to make a purchase? Things like FAQs can be really useful, delivery info. Make sure you're creating a sense of urgency, never more important than this time of year. And make sure you've got privacy policy and terms in the footer just to make sure you're all compliant for Facebook ads. And super important, sometimes we launch a landing page and we forget to put the tracking on there. So make sure you've got that. So yeah, over to you, Tris, to cover what you can do during the sale and gifting period once it all the fun hits.
All the fun hits when things really start to get hotting up. Yeah, thanks, Jesse and Sam. I think you guys have packed it through full of some really good stuff so far. I won't pack on too much more. I just want to go through the basics and really make sure that you guys have everything you need and a checklist and things like that to make sure you're ready to go. So this is just a lay down of November. One of the things we look at is kind of the phasing of campaigns. One of the really kind of important to make sure that you have the right type of campaigns at the right time. So at the start, and actually during this month, actually we're saying it to our clients and partners as well, is that we're kind of looking at November and December, not kind of, we are looking at November and December as one larger month. At the moment, we're using warm-up campaigns. We're cutting it close to the threshold of where we want our performance to be, because we really want to start drawing out those the warm-up campaigns as much as possible, because the more we're spending in October, invariably we've seen it every single year, and this is going to be no different. We're going to see that the warm-up campaigns are really going to have an effect on when things actually start to hit in the tail end of November. What we see then, kind of, about a week or so out from Black Friday, we see some people going early with pre-Black Friday sales. That's, that has worked in the past, and that's something we're advising to people to do a bit more this year, is pre-Black Friday sales. If you have it over 2 weeks, if you can have it over those 2 week period, do. If not, then I'd cut it then to the 19th, but I wouldn't cut it any later than the 19th, otherwise you'll miss the boat. You don't want to be having your sales too close to Black Friday, because that's when people are expecting it anyway. So you have to really kind of play with the consumer behavior that's coming. Something to remember, though, it is Thanksgiving in the USA. It was Thanksgiving on Monday in Canada, just gone. It's USA's turn on the 23rd of November, obviously the day before Black Friday. I think that's where it all came about. I think just to keep in mind that your CPMs will be pretty good that day, because a lot of people will be spending time on their phone. Depending on the niche you're in, sometimes people are spending time with their family, depending who you're actually selling to. You've got to be keeping an eye on that. Obviously, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is that 4-day period. I'll go through what you can actually do on those times now in a second. But something to keep in mind is that it's not done on the 27th. That's where the fun really starts, and that's where we start pushing harder to get those sales up to the deadline days at the end of December and into end of November and into December. So that's just something to keep in mind as we kind of push forward into the month of November. So here's an example of some of the deadlines that we're setting for our clients, and something worthwhile you guys taking in-house and actually making sure you have the deadlines there. This doesn't need to be a stressful time. If you have these deadlines, if you stick to these deadlines and keep these in order, this should be a much easier time for you guys. So this is a little bit more focused on creative, but it's kind of getting an idea of what you actually need to get. So by the 15th, so by a couple of days time, you'll have to make sure your offers and terms and conditions are ready to go. Your end dates, your start dates. It's not too late. You can still get it done, but just make sure you get it done kind of a month in advance. So you're not kind of considering there 2 days out. Oh, where am I? What offer am I doing? But then what you want to do is make sure you're getting copies and creatives ready. You're making sure you're putting creative packages together. We want to make sure that you're focused a lot more on what the creative is going to look like, because then it gives you about a couple of days, couple of weeks even, to get those together. You can share feedback back and forth internally with people who are actually making the sales or people who are designing it. All that kind of feedback can happen internally. We then say provide our final sign off creative by the 15th. And then we share the final previews on the 20th, and by the 22nd, everything's launched. Everything's in the campaign or in the account, ready to go. Because what we've found in years gone by, and it was a little bit different last year, they're a little bit more lenient last year, but the 5 years before that, it wasn't. But what would happen was it would take about 24 hours for the campaign to be approved within Facebook or in TikTok and sometimes even in Google. So what we found was we need to make sure that our ads are built out a couple of days before Black Friday, so that you don't have any worry about if it goes live or not. So you want to make sure that you have these deadlines in place. And like I say, we say to our people, we can't guarantee it'll go live unless we have that in place, but it also gives you time to QA it and make sure it's in the right place. So these are just some deadlines that we set out, and you can kind of copy these for some of the deadlines that you have internally as well. On the next slide, then we talk a bit about the phases I talked about earlier on. So there's kind of 4 to 5 major phases in the next 6 weeks, right? So you've got your warm-up phase, which we're in now. So we want to use broad audiences, we want to use video views, lead generation campaigns. These are all the kind of campaigns that we want to build to find new people, find people who are more likely to buy from us. Then we've got our pre-sale or our early sale. So you want to tease the sale and release your first discount. So kind of something small. Don't build up discounts. Don't start with a 15, then go to 20, then 25. you'll create a headache for whoever's answering the phone that day. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you're adding in more added value, or you're introducing bundles, different types of discounts, different types of value add, rather than actually increasing the discount, because it's going to hurt you overall. But then you got your Black Friday weekend. You got your 30-40% off. You want to you go after your 30-40% warm audiences. You want to really push those warm audiences. These are the people that you've built up who are aware of your brand, have bought into the idea of your brand, and that's when they're going to start buying. This is kind of a process that we would use for a lot of sales. This is obviously the biggest sale of the year, so we want to make sure that we're ready to go and have everything in place. So it's the same process. And something that what's really interesting is we tested this last year, it worked quite well. But what we found is a lot of birthday sales that we have coming up, and a lot of our clients seem to have birthday sales around this time. I'm not too sure if everyone decided to make their company start in the end of September, but turns out birthday sales is a popular day to start a company in the end of September. But what we found is that, you know, the process to getting towards these sales and successfully doing these sales, we've got a lot of video view campaigns, and targeting those audiences is working really well, and even in lead generation campaigns as well. So just come back to this, we've got our peak shopping and in the Black Friday side, but then post sale as well. So you got to remember that there's the post sale just after. Sometimes we see people launching new product. We see people going into a Christmas focused sale. There's something slightly different in that people are still shopping. The end of Black Friday and Cyber Monday comes, but people are still shopping. I buy my stuff on the 23rd of December. So I'm not alone. A lot of people buy right up into that point. So find out your cutoff points. Like when do people actually, when's the last point they can buy so you can ship it to them before Christmas? So it's really, really important to get that information in there and include those in your structure. How am I doing for time? I'll be quick. So one of these, this is kind of our structure of a budget structure that we have during Black Friday. So something that people tend to do, and I've seen it so many times, and this is just something we need to advise against, is people shut off all their existing campaigns and turn on all the Black Friday campaigns, which just don't do it. Just don't do it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Your existing campaigns are working there. Let's talk about, you know, our evergreen campaigns, right? These are going to be our prospecting campaigns. They're going to be staying live. We want to make sure that this is 50% of our spend generally as we start. But what we find is that this has a lot of organic kind of comments. People are commenting on it. People are engaging with those posts. Just because you have to turn on the new stuff. Keep that on and add in the new stuff for Black Friday and see which ones perform against each other. But it's really, really important not to just shut them off because you're turning on these new Black Fridays. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So when you're bringing in the seasonal campaigns, then you want to kind of go 50-50 between prospecting and retargeting. But then you want to start to shifting a bit more towards retargeting around this time, because they're the people that you start to build up over the last couple of weeks. So this is really where your time to shine as well. So that's kind of where we start. But we then start to alter these budgets over the 4 or 5 days over Black Friday into Cyber Monday.
All right.
Yeah, that's all right.
Next one.
One below it. Yeah. So just a word on email and SMS. This is a great opportunity that if anyone's not doing this, do it without question. It's easy to set up. Get into Klaviyo, set up your account, and they've got some really easy plug and play stuff there for your email. And SMS. But during your sale period, you know, don't be shy with it. This is the time to email the hell out of your list. You want to make sure you want to get hit them with as much as you can within reason. You can start with a tease. You can tease your offer. This is when it's going to start, when it's going to be released. You can also then say sign up to be the first. So you want to try and encourage people to get onto the list, to be first to actually get it, and give them a reason as to why they should sign up. These are going to sell out fast. Make sure you're there first. Make sure you're front of the line, anything like that. Use that kind of language when you're trying to get people to sign up. And then you can drop your offer, then send reminders. And then you want to adjust, for post-purchase flows and everything else. So somebody's bought for Christmas, maybe your product requires a bit of explanation. You can set up a flow to kind of explain how to use it so that people can share it. But also then as well is if you've sold something on Black Friday and that gets shipped to them a couple of days later, you can say, right, you bought one, but do you want to buy another? Here's another good opportunity. Use it as an upsell. So there's some really good ideas there in terms of post-purchase flows as well. Some other ideas then, obviously, just finished that one. The other ideas that we have in there, so we got the VIP offers. So if you like I said, you got those people in early. You got people to guess the offer as well, so a bit more engagement. People are emailing back, so you really want to. If people are emailing you back, you want to you make sure that your deliverability goes up. So if you can people actually engaging with the emails, it works a lot better. And then you have your pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday competition as well. now on scaling. So just on scaling, you want to make sure that you're monitoring against the target that you set. So this is something Jesse mentioned at the start. Have a target that you want to try and hit, because everyone gets, it's not greed, but everyone gets kind of a little bit like, oh, that's kind of working. Let's go a bit further and a bit further. Make sure you're monitoring against the original target. Is it CPA? Is it ROAS? What are you actually trying to achieve? Something to mention as well is if the frequency allows it. So if you're not hitting the same people over and over again, specifically in retargeting, by all means scale. But if you're hitting the same people again, you want to make sure you're keeping in mind that you're not going to make too much more money just by scaling. Another thing to remember is, is your revenue lining up with the data in the platform? So we've seen that the Facebook and TikTok have modeled data. So what happens is the stuff gets reported in Facebook, but it's all not 100% accurate. At least if you have a line between what happens in Facebook and what happens on like in real life, at least you know that line and that keeps consistent throughout the day, then start to scale. When I say another thing we see is when performance spikes, we call it surfing. So what I would do is you can start to increase budgets slowly and slowly and slowly as that starts to work. And specifically over Black Friday, that has worked very, very well for us in the past. We've seen kind of, 30-40% more revenue coming from that just by scaling that quickly. Make sure you're at least, doing twice daily optimizations over that weekend. So, in the morning and then looking maybe in the afternoon. In the evening, it won't necessarily help so much because it obviously takes a bit of time to bump up, but certainly in the morning and in the evening. In the morning, what I would say, and maybe on the Saturday, what you want to be looking at is, what worked and what didn't on the end of the night before. But then in the afternoon, you want to start getting after it. So these are the two kind of ones that you definitely want to make sure you're getting in there as well. If you're not getting enough deliverability, if your ads aren't being delivered enough, you can start to use the bully bid method, which is essentially getting in there with a bid cap and just increasing the bid substantially so that you're actually getting deliverability in there as well. That's just something else to kind of test in there throughout the Black Friday period. Okay, so things we noticed last year. So we noticed that as we mentioned, the CPMs are 30% higher from Friday to the Monday. So it's going to cost to advertise an awful lot higher. Friday, it wasn't as pronounced as another year, so it was kind of more of a black month rather than a Black Friday or even a black week. So just bear in mind, don't be relying on putting all your eggs in one basket in the Black Friday. But this is where I'm saying maybe start on the Monday, and you've got your overall period that you're gathering for the sale period. Brands were running shorter sales, but then what we found was there was kind of delayed attribution. So people were running the shorter sales, but then they found that the Friday wasn't that pronounced. So it's very difficult to know what to do. But what I would say is my recommendation would be is starting on the Monday and then ending on the following Monday as well, specifically for this sale. Obviously, that's a generic suggestion. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I would say work it out for whatever brand is there for you. Just keeping in mind delayed attribution, as I said, something that we saw last year is Cyber Monday finished, but then for the couple of days after, we were getting more and more sales in. There's like, oh, we could have run that even more. So this is what I'm saying between compare your spend versus how much you're making and have a target in mind that you want to try and hit. So creative with data behind it rather than freshly launched did better. So this is what I was saying to you above in the creative section. Make sure you're not just turning off the stuff that work. Ads with proven test results have worked way better than if you launch an ad on Black Friday itself. Of course, you need to tell people it's Black Friday. You have a Black Friday sale on, but you don't need to tell them it's Black Friday. So think about that when you're creating creative. But also, you have the stuff that has the comments in there as well. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. So static Outperform video. So during the sale period, you want to get people to your site, get people clicking over to your site. That's really, really important. If you're showing them a video, they've got two options. They can watch the video or click to the site. You want to make sure at this time, this is action mode. This is get people to your site and actually get them to take action. So take that into consideration. And at the moment, right now in October, that's video time, story time. So, as I mentioned about the under delivery of ads, that's just something you can use the bully bid as well against that as well. I'll keep going, Jesse. So in terms of what worked last year, so as I said, warm up and lead generation campaigns, they work so well because they work every year, because what you're doing is introducing your brand in a brand sense rather than going, hello, new brand, I've got 20% off. Nobody's going to value your brand if you're coming in with 25% off straight off the bat. It's going to be very difficult to make that sale. So you want to sell the product and then go and sell the discount or the value add then at that point. Lead generation campaigns are good, but just remember, don't be using the campaigns. You don't want to use the lead generation forms in Facebook, because what happens is they're auto-generated, they're auto-populated by Facebook with an email that doesn't make sense. What you want to do instead is you want to send people to your site and have a click bar there that people can add their email there. So one sec. So something actually I heard earlier on that was really, really good. One of our media buyers came up with this as a genius way of getting a kind of a mixture of the two. Is what you can do is you can use a Facebook lead form, but what you can do is ask it to add a custom answer. So what you can do is say, what is your email? Instead of pre-populating with the Facebook email, someone has to actually put it in. So you're getting the best of both worlds. And that works really, really well. That's worked really well for their brand at the moment. They're getting some really good cost-effective clicks. They just had a sale and the conversion rate on that was fantastic. So I think it's something to keep in mind that you can get the best of both worlds there. Just talking about running proven offers. So obviously, for instance, 20% off everything or 50% off everything. Make sure your offer makes sense. Don't just kind of say, here's the 10% off and here you go. Because even at €100, that's only a tenner. So people are like, I'm not interested. So make sure your offer makes sense and is actually valuable to the consumer and there's a reason to buy. It actually has a certain amount of discount. So AOV boosting offers, obviously make sure that, you're bundling together as value add rather than discount, especially in kind of more premium brands. If you want to start selling that and actually add in gift with purchase, value add, free shipping, whatever way you can add value to that and by increasing average order value. So that's something really something to keep in mind. Longer sales period worked really, really well last year. You get the most out of the cheap traffic outside Black Friday week. So the warm-up period I talked about there, if you have a longer sale, that worked really well as well. So that's something to keep in mind. So lastly, for me, just to kind of what we predict this year, there's going to be more competition than ever. What we're seeing at the moment, and it's going to continue into Black Friday, is it's not just competition from larger advertisers. They're not going to be in there because they're not seeing the value in it. So they're going to be pulling back. What we're suggesting is going to happen is there's going to be more similar advertisers to you. So this is where the fun really starts. You're going to be competing against people that are a lot similar to you. If you're a leggings brand, you're going to have another leggings brand beside you, as opposed to, I don't know, Guinness, right? So that's something to kind of keep in mind. You need to make sure your offers stand out. You have to make sure you stand out as a result of that. One of the other trends that we're seeing this year is brands are really starting to see less and less loyalty towards their brand. And this isn't just one or two. This is quite a lot of our clients are seeing less dependence on, more and more dependence on new customers and generating new customers. So that's something to keep in mind, that, don't just kind of think, oh, this will be all our existing customers will buy this. New customers is going to be where your biggest scale is at any time of the year, but more specifically now. And something as well is to remember is we're moving into a non-COVID area. And so it's just to keep that in mind, that we're when you're relying on past customer data, that was the data that you're relying on is people who bought it during the COVID time. So you want to keep that in mind when you're starting to build out your custom audiences. Who are the custom audiences you want to build on as well? So I hope that provides some tidbits there of things you can do coming into Black Friday. Jessie will go through some creative ideas now.
Cool, awesome. So we've got about 9 minutes left. I'll whiz through the creative, but I probably won't get to show you all of them. So again, drop us an email on hello@webtopia.co if you want to have access to these slides with all the creative examples that we've got. And also just a quick plug as well, if anyone is interested in jumping on a quick strategy call with us, with either myself or Triss, we're offering those. I'll put the link in the chat in a sec, but we offer a free strategy call. We can go through your strategy for you, have a look at what you're doing, and provide you with some next steps. Whether that's working with us or not, we'd love to jump on a call and just, brainstorm with you what's right for your brand. Right, so first things first, creative analysis. Great idea to analyze creative from last Black Friday. Analyze your recent, there's a typo there, creative, to understand what hooks and angles are resonating. So if you're doing really well with a certain angle, why reinvent the wheel? Take that angle, but make it a Black Friday ad. Lean on top performers, but also throw in some new ideas too. Creative diversity is the word at the moment. It's something that Facebook is talking about a lot in the content they're putting out. They're talking about having different types of creative for different types of people. So while we said statics, tend to outperform video during that peak period, you do want to still have some video in there because there are people who do prefer to consume video. So never put all your eggs in one basket. Have different angles, ads for different personas, have a diversity of creative, have some slick creative and some UGC organic style creative. There's different types of people in your audience who will resonate with different types of ads. That's really important there. Okay, so creative tips. So consider using teasers in the lead up to the event. So you might have like a couple of days where you tease the sale. Be careful with this. Don't do it for too long because you'll tank your performance during that period. You might want to lean into the classic Black Friday aesthetic, but that, bear in mind the feed will be full of those, but it will be really recognizable. Consider using UGC content, PR, logos, testimonials if possible to objection bust up front, but make sure you use contrasting color and size to attract attention to your offer. This is not a time to be subtle. Keep videos short, especially around this. In this kind of pre-Black Friday period, you can probably get away with a little bit longer, more nurture style videos, but during the peak period, keep the videos nice and short. You can use highlighting or underlining to attract attention to the offer, point arrows or icons to attract attention. You can use variations with code or without, but if you do use codes, keep the code short so it's easy to use on creative and easy to remember. Use vertical, horizontal thirds of the image to draw attention to the main USPs. Creative with movement attracts more attention, so jumping or running is cool. And if you have evergreen creative, consider adapting this for your Black Friday. Again, really important to introduce that discount early on in the video. Use flashing colors, lights, effects. Even if you're a premium brand, I would say this is a time of year when you can be a little bit more like a Christmas tree, shall we say. Use grids to divide composition. Use GIF loop style videos with simple animations. So if you are using video, it's probably a time to keep it a little simpler. And you can use light effects, so you can highlight key parts of the creative, such as the discount or main USP. So a few tips there. The other thing to think about is psychology. We're really big on Webtopia at using psychology in our advertising and our landing pages and our whole approach to marketing, really. So using things like price anchoring that visually shows the value of your offer. I don't know where that worked by that. There's a typo there, sorry. But yeah, make it really clear, like you can use visual price anchoring or showing the price it was before or showing the discount in a visual way so that people can really see why this is the best offer. Strike through pricing is really good. Make it clear. Don't make it subtle. Don't make the line really thin. Make it really clear. This was the price. Now this is the price. Having some exclusivity to your offer can be good. So is this just for VIPs? Is this just for people on your email list? Is this just for people who've bought a certain product? Making it seem exclusive is a great tactic. Scarcity, obviously, this is a time to be honest, but also, highlight the fact that, these deals will go away, that product will run out. Urgency, similar thing. Fear of missing out. So you want to get people to act now. So you don't want this to seem like we're going to have this sale running for a whole month and there's tons of product. They will need to feel like a sense of urgency to jump on it now. But don't forget to highlight the benefits of your product and use emotion and focus on those pain points. I think a big mistake I see advertisers make is to forget to tell people what their product is all about during this time and just focus on the discount. So make sure you're kind of leaning into those principles as well. So I've got a few examples here of like the black and white aesthetic. A few examples here of some teasers and ways you can kind of tease your offer. Sorry, whoops. Humor is also a fun time to use humor. It attracts attention. It can help you stand out a little bit, to just be a little bit fun this time of year. It's a festive time of year. People having fun with the shopping. Why not lean into humor? More monochrome examples here. You can see for the most part, these examples, it's very clear when there's an offer. I like this one here. It's very eye-catching. So yeah. But also don't be afraid to use pops of color if it suits your brand and if it's going to help you stand out. So, either bright creative or a bright sticker showing the discount. Lots of examples here. UGC. So I've pulled a bunch of examples. So user-generated content is really effective. We talk about it a lot. We use it a lot for our clients. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so I won't have time to play these. So again, as I said, hello@webtopia.co if you want a copy of these slides so you can watch these videos. We've also got to share with you, if you would like it, Foreplay, which is the ad saving tool. We love it. They've put out a Black Friday swipe file of lots of ad creative ideas, and I can share that link with you if you send me an email as well. But some cool ad ideas here. So I won't play it, but you can see here using this kind of response format. This response format works really, really well as an ad, and using it for Black Friday is also a great way of doing it. This one, I just love this as a pattern interrupt type ad. So it's an ad about an acne product, but using the fruit is very eye-catching. This ad is a good example of using existing content, but making it relevant for Black Friday. And got a few more examples here. I won't go through them all because we're going to run out of time.
So as Tris mentioned, we're coming up to Black Friday in what's been probably going to be one of the most challenging in recent memory. One of the things I want to make sure with here is that we provide some kind of insight that is directly actionable. These are tactics that we use on our clients and have done for a number of years. So it's kind of road tested, and we know that it works. So let's start off by a bit of an introduction about who we are. So Blink is a specialist e-commerce SEO agency. We're largely focused on Shopify. It's a platform that we know inside out. Our kind of development team, we don't do web builds or anything like that. We have specialist developers focused on Shopify, which allows us to kind of execute much quicker. We do have a real focus on data science and engineering. I know everybody in the marketing world says that they're data focused, but that normally means they can do a VLOOKUP. We have real experienced data specialists in the team. We have data engineers, data scientists. We have PhDs in the team in machine learning, and so like when we talk about data, like it's kind of integral to what we do. We build our own software. Again, we've got kind of custom Shopify solutions that we've been developing. This includes Macaroni, which is our e-commerce SEO platform that we're preparing to launch. This is an agency-specific tool. It's based on the kind of processes that we've developed over the years. It's essentially a data pipeline that ingests analytics, Search Console data, and various other things, and then does machine learning stuff on top. The purpose of all of this stuff, like that might all sound nice and funky, but what it means is that we can do work at a much greater scale and move a lot faster than typical like similar agencies. And we've taken a lot of, particularly as our engineering team have a background in the kind of enterprise world, working for McKinsey and companies like that, and we've taken a lot of that kind of expertise and we're bringing it into the Shopify world. So, and again, the purpose is so we can do more faster. Okay. The first thing that we want to think about when it's to Black Friday is how customers search for deals. This is that SEO is most effective when you understand what the kind of buying journey is. We can't really develop a proper campaign unless we know what that behavior looks like. So what I've got here is a little bit of data from our own data warehouse. So we're tracking around, well, it's tens of millions of queries of Search Console data that are stored in our data warehouse, and we're tracking them each month for the clients that we work with. And if we look across that data set, we can see that only 4.4% of searches across all of these sites and millions of queries contained the term Black Friday plus a brand name. This is really, really important. So imagine like Gymshark deals, Gymshark Black Friday. Those are the kind of terms that we're talking about. Instead, searches are much more specific. And here's an extract of the data here. An amazing typo that I've just noticed. That should be impressions rather than impressive, but we'll roll with that. So if we look at these kind of example terms, we can see that they typically include Black Friday or related term and a category or subcategory. And this is kind of the typical user journey. And this also stacks up with what we see in PPC, Google Ads data as well. And the main point is how specific customers know the category or subcategory that they're looking for a deal for. And that's the kind of key point I want to make here. If we take a step back, we know that categories are incredibly important, again, for some more kind of work that we've done in our data warehouse. now, I think we're tracking 750,000 URLs. And what we've done here is kind of classified those URLs by page type, which is really easy with Shopify because you can just do a lookup on the URL, like contains collection. And we can see that category pages account, or collection pages account for about 60% of organic revenue. And what's really important here is the key ranking factor is having relevant content. So that's the kind of, apart from making sure that your site can be read by a search engine, having a page that is relevant to the query is the most important thing. And when we're talking about commercial terms, this normally means a product or a collection page. So in essence, we know that categories are important. A big part of the work that we do at Blink is with how we can scale categories. We use a lot of kind of and various things to be able to do that at scale. But yeah, so kind of we can see what this buying journey is, and we can see that category pages are important. So what do we do with this? So the kind of typical path here is, first of all, for a store, we want to understand what your own data says about Black Friday terms. So what we recommend is using an API connector. Again, because we've built our own software, like I don't really use off-the-shelf things like this, but I'm pretty sure API connector for Google Sheets is a good one. So you can connect your Search Console account, pull all of your data into a Google Sheet, and then look over that time period for Black Friday related terms. And the chances are you're going to see things like your categories, subcategories, plus Black Friday. Now, if you don't have a Black Friday page, or you've never done a Black Friday offer, there's a chance there won't be much Black Friday related data in your Search Console account. And that's because Google needs, that's all based on impressions. You're more likely to trigger an impression if you've got some content that's related to that term. But sale terms follow the same search pattern. So if someone's searching for, in this instance, dumbbell sets for sale, the chances are when it comes to Black Friday, they're going to be searching for Black Friday dumbbell sets deals. The wholesale stuff is probably a misnomer, but the other kind of things in here, mulching lawnmower for sale, mulching lawnmower Black Friday deals, etc. So at this point, with that kind of pool of data from Search Console, we can break down those terms and then start to develop a content plan. So I've got an example here. So this is what a content plan for Black Friday related collection pages might look like. So you can see we've got a furniture sale page, like patio furniture Black Friday, and then the supporting keywords, are kind of related to that primary one. So we kind of recommend one, maybe two primary keywords per page, and it needs to be super relevant to the products that are there. And I think this is, again, the most important thing. In terms of kind of product, again, we would recommend 3 products plus. So if you have a combination of products, or if you have less than 3 products for one of these pages, then there's a risk that Google might kind of see it as thin or a soft 404 or something like that. So kind of 3 products or plus is generally a rule of thumb. So if you have 3 corner sofas and they're on offer for Black Friday, that's a good opportunity to create your Black Friday corner sofas page. What I'd normally expect on most Shopify stores, with the ones that aren't with thousands and thousands of SKUs, is you might end up with a kind of list of maybe 10 like good relevant pages that fit your commercials that you have consistent offers on, and that's fine. Like this doesn't need to be done in every combination. So focus on the kind of highest priority, the ones that make the most sense commercially. Okay, so then
just before you go on, one of the questions Ishtar has there is there a way to do this generically? Like so you said, like to see what sector or niche area is most popular keywords, so you can make your page fit in for purpose.
So is this a case of like kind of looking for opportunities and then kind of pushing out your product?
Yeah, it's more along that.
Yeah, this is a really I think I could go on about this for ages, so I'll try and keep it.
Give us the top line.
I was going to say, so you've got 7 minutes in total left. Just
Oh, okay.
time
I need to
warning.
be so kind of surfacing opportunities that are not there from your data is a kind of different process. Maybe if I can whiz through this, we can have a look at some ways of doing that. In the kind of tool that we're building, we have one kind of function that looks for groups of product pages that are triggering impressions for a query that has no category page, and you can kind of do some kind of combination stuff there. But yeah, I'll just whiz on with this. So Google needs time to index a page. So what we've seen so many times is that a Black Friday page will go up like on Black Friday, and that the chances of search engine finding it, ranking it in that time frame are pretty slim. So what we always recommend is getting them up well in advance, or ideally leaving up all year round. And in this example from B&Q, you can see that they have a holding page that's up, says over for 2022, come back next year, more deals. Okay. So again, pages can be indexed and remain live all year round. There's some advantages here, like backlinks, like lots of people in SEO talk about backlinks, but you know, that's one reason to keep the same page consistently. But then there's also other advantages in terms of data capture. So you can be harvesting email addresses well in advance of Black Friday. I've included a link here to a blog that we've just published, which is a walkthrough on how to build a countdown page in Shopify. So you can have that kind of a countdown timer running all year round, but then it comes to Black Friday, that section disappears and is replaced with the deals. So you don't have to kind of, do that manually. You can do it well in advance and set it live. So yeah, in this blog, we show the liquid code to show or hide the content, depending on the sale period, how to add the content timer, and how to show hide. So hopefully that's useful. But again, this is a way that we can keep the pages up all year round, indexed, etc. So does it work? Here's a case study from Here's an example from last year. I don't believe that this project was doing any paid at this time, so this is all organic. 120, I can't even read my 120 something % increase in organic revenue that's been driven by organic from this kind of process. So it is something that we know is effective. One more thing to add. This image is awful. I don't know what I've done here, but hey, we'll roll with it. So we mentioned sales data. Like in general, understanding how customers search for deals is a really valuable thing that you can do. But there's also value in capturing this traffic all year round. And really, another key thing that we recommend on sites with a reasonable product catalog is an evergreen sales section that is broken down in a similar way. So here's one example. This is a bathroom supplier. You can see that we're breaking it down into bath taps, bath panels that can be optimized for cheap discount, whatever. If there's enough deals there to justify these pages consistently, then it's a good opportunity to create this traffic. Cool. Okay, so hopefully I've left some time for questions.
Just a couple minutes there, certainly for questions. So were you able to do you want to go through that the specific part Ishtar was asking about there?
Yeah, I think this is really a really interesting question, because relevancy is like the biggest thing when it comes to search. Like your Search Console data is kind of based on your existing catalog, or like what Google thinks your existing catalog is. So surfacing new opportunities from that is a bit kind of can be a bit tricky. One of the things that we're looking to do is, or one of the things we are doing at the moment is take a more kind of bottom-up rather than top-down approach. So thinking about the attributes that make up all of the different products, and then kind of effectively building tags out there, and then building your taxonomy off of that. So you're kind of building a taxonomy bottom-up rather than looking for gaps. And the reason that I think this is so important is because it means that you're focused on your catalog. You're not trying to fill gaps with something that you may or may not be relevant. It's about, what you have And that is normally the kind of the most effective way to do it.